because I saw it on the shelf and I couldn't pass it by. It's in poor condition, but it's E.T. the Board Game. Marc of Horror and Hugsy here, with guest stars Chupacabra on the floor and Miss Viola here. And today we went to thrift. We went to many thrift stores, and as usual we didn't find DVDs, but we found plenty of VHS horror for our art project. I've yet to decide what the art project is, but I'm going to use the VHSs for them because they're only 50 cents. So I can buy an entire box, and it costs very little. Mighty Joe Young, the original, not the remake. Nightmare on Elm Street 4. When a Stranger Calls, the box has seen better days. But When a Stranger Calls, again, the original, so many remakes. In plastic casing, we have The Nightmare Before Christmas. Jason Goes to Hell. This one's a little icky. I should have cleaned it before we did this video. National Lampoon's Class Reunion. And who can't pass up Star Wars Trilogy? Sadly, special edition, not regular edition, but the Star Wars Trilogy on VHS for $1.50. I know it's not horror, but I have a soft spot for it. And there's another one in here that I have a real soft spot for. I pick one up every time we go, and I think I've got 3 of them now on VHS, and that's Raiders of the Lost Ark. Bum, 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 bum. But I can't resist picking it up because after VHS, it becomes Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. And so this is the last place I think we get to see it. Maybe Laserdisc has just plain Raiders of the Lost Ark on it. It doesn't matter that much to me, but it does matter some, because this is, when I went to see this in theaters when it first came out, it was Raiders of the Lost Ark. There was no Indiana Jones in the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Urban Legend, 90s slasher. Lake Placid, best crocodile movie ever. Red Planet. I got to do a series on Mars one of these days because there are so many of these Mars films. And in spite of science fiction, they mostly seem to be horror, except for The Martian. Stephen King's Firestarter. Seen better days, but still good for an art project. The Cell. Tarsem Singh's, I'm badly mispronouncing his name, I'm sure. It's a very visually inventive film. Stephen King's The Dead Zone. David Cronenberg's Stephen King adaptation, and it's excellent. Cape Fear, this one is actually the remake. The Rage, Carrie 2, which I have yet to watch. I thought the whole point of Carrie was that it was like a Greek tragedy. It was inevitable that Carrie was going to die at the end. So I'm kind of curious as to what Rage, Carrie 2 is. I assume another character. I really despised the Carrie that they made for TV, where they let her live at the end because they wanted a TV series out of it. But Sleepy Hollow, the best Hammer film ever made not by Hammer. Tim Burton captured the Hammer feeling perfectly.
Mark.
Stir of Echoes, with Kevin Bacon. Pitch Black. Jeepers Creepers 2. I know the director is a complete scuzzball. I don't like promoting the film, and it's a really good film, and there are other people besides the director that worked on it. I always wonder how to feel about that, because there are so many really awful people in Hollywood, and that director's one of them. I mean, he's a convicted rapist. Nightmare on Elm Street. Wes Craven, not a convicted rapist. Scream 3. Something called Creepy Classics with Vincent Price. It appears to be a clip show that's narrated by Vincent Price. I don't know whether it was on TV at one point, but it looks like a kind of like public domain box. Apparently picked up 2 copies of Sleepy Hollow. I've got to start writing the VHSs down now, because I have that problem with DVDs, is making sure I don't pick up a second copy. Open Water, Jurassic Park, King Kong versus Godzilla, which we have coming up. Speaking of remakes, assuming that Godzilla King of the Monsters this summer makes the gajillion dollars that people think it will, this is what's coming next: King Kong versus Godzilla. And I really did enjoy the most recent King Kong, the Skull Island reboot. Leprechaun 2 with Warwick Davis. Scream. Jacob's Ladder, which also, again, remade. Anaconda, which they're making a 4-disc Blu-ray limited edition in England of the 4 Anaconda movies, which I think is a funny thing to make a limited edition of, but I might pick it up. 13 Ghosts, the remake. Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, which I don't really care for Mystery Science Theater 3000 all that much. I like the original films. If I'm going to laugh at something or poke fun at something, I prefer to do it myself. I don't need these guys to do it for me. Their heads are just in the way. Anyway, they poke fun at This Island Earth in this movie. The Relic, which is an amazing book. Stop right now, go get the book, go read the book. And the book's sequel is almost as amazing, Reliquary. The movie is just kind of by the numbers, because one of the directorial decisions they made was to cut out one of the 3 main characters, and it was the most interesting of the 3 main characters. Abbott and Costello meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, with Boris Karloff in it. Python, which I assume came out right after Anaconda, because Anaconda made so much money. Wishmaster 2, Evil Never Dies. And finally, the Matthew Broderick Godzilla, which is kind of Jurassic Park light. Jupe is interested in the box here. And those were all the VHSs, and we picked up a ton of VHS, and we also picked up one other item because I saw it on the shelf and I couldn't pass it by. It's in poor condition, but it's E.T. the board game. And yeah, you can see the box is in terrible condition. But yeah, there's E.T. the board game, and I've yet to see if it has all the pieces. But that was just a quick trip to quite a number of thrift shops, 3 Goodwills and a couple of others. Please click like, subscribe, or even comment below on E.T. the Extraterrestrial and why E.T. is a part of the horror community. Thanks.